the objective into raising children is to raise people that are self-sufficient, educated, smart, you know, that are good human beings. You want them to be able to let them go, right? You're raising somebody to let them go. It doesn't need to be let go, hey, detach completely. No, you want to have a close relationship with them down the road. But I guess if I want to define success as a parent is to achieve that. You don't want a child that becomes dependent of you for your whole life.
Welcome to the Driven Dad Podcast, where we celebrate dads that live with passion and lead with purpose. On this show, we'll host some dads that live incredible lives. Being a dad is the most important job you'll ever have. Get inspired by our amazing guest dads that refuse to live life in mediocrity and live epic lifestyles with their families. Welcome back to the Driven Dad Podcast. Today's guest is a husband, a dad to two boys, and co-owner and founder of Fly Craft Beer, a non-alcoholic craft beer brand changing how people think about beer and lifestyle. From academia to entrepreneurship, he's built businesses with a strong family-first mindset. And today we're talking balance, health, and intentional living. Alex, welcome to the Driven Dad Podcast.
Thank you.
So let's dive right into it. I'm really intrigued to hear the full story about how you came about to co-found a brand of non-alcoholic beverages and how it kind of plays a big role in your personal lifestyle as well.
Oh, absolutely. So I worked in the industry. So I guess fast forward a little back when I was in school, started working at Molson for quite a few years and then worked for them full time. And during that time, I ended up launching Heineken Zero with them. So really, that spoke to me a lot as an athlete at university level. Always keeping health top of mind. And at the time, I was dealing with a lot of post-concussion syndromes. And my doctors at the time were like, Alex, alcohol is definitely not helping a lot of your migraines and headaches. So I shifted to primarily drinking a lot of non-alc, and really that spoke to me a lot and I loved it. And then, fast forward a few years after that, decided to change kind of career paths and then returned to school. So completed my master's and was about 2 years into my PhD when I decided to launch my own company. So while I was in school, I was doing a whole lot of research on how to bring that same proper technology to the craft beer industry as a huge beer fanatic, and seeing how, I wouldn't say only the big players. There's a lot of smaller players that are entering the area now, but a lot of the big guys, I found that their quality was exceptional, really, really good. And I was trying to figure out, okay, how do we bring this to local craft beer and really bring that experience to other people. And as the segment and consumer categories growing now, it kind of felt like a good time. So I partnered up with 3 other local entrepreneurs, and we ended up, putting the whole plan together and acquiring Flying Boats Brewing, which is now celebrating 10 years in the industry. And we kind of took that vision and worked on creating Fly Craft Beer, which is kind of our non-alc division. So if you can think of flying boats, it's the seaplane, requires fuel to fly, where our non-alc is a blue bird, which doesn't require any fuel to fly, right? So it's
nice. I like that
kind of little analogy.
I like that. Good plug-in showing us the beer there.
Yeah,
like
absolutely. That. So it's but no, and the blue kind of eagle is a little representation of my background, playing 5 years of hockey for UDM's Blue Eagles, and my wife is a full-time volleyball coach for the UDM Blue Eagles. So we kind of played around with that concept of bringing that to life with little it's not written on the can. It's just kind of a little
Right.
sentimental attachment to.
I love when there's a lot of thought that goes into something like that, either a brand of a company or like this one, the line of that specific beer. I love when there's a backstory to why you chose, that Blue Eagle. So that's a super cool story to hear.
Yeah, like we founded Fly Craft Beer over 3 years ago, and it only came to life about a year ago, right? So
Wow.
it takes, we had Fly Craft Beer designed and developed before we actually owned Flying Boats. So
Okay.
everything takes a lot of kind of time to bring to life, but now it's, going in the right direction, which is good.
Right. So the timeline went, you knew you were going to start a non-alcoholic line. Along the way, you decided to buy an existing brewery, and then you launched that non-alcoholic beer in that brewery.
Yeah, the plan came and changed about 20 times before we actually,
As it usually does.
yeah, it's, startups typically take a lot of cash at the start, and, to bring it to a profitable level, it's a long process where, strategically we knew that the process that we're going to use and the methodologies were fantastic. You also needed to make regular beer and then, make full alcoholic beer, extract the alcohol to give you a non-alc beer. So, at the time it's just like, okay, well, what makes the most sense? And Flying Boats is known for very high quality local craft beer. The previous owner, Mark, was looking to retire, and it was just a great fit and timing. So, and the brewery itself had capacity to grow, space in the brewery, nice, clean. We could get our CFIA food grade licensing and all that. So, yeah, the idea to bring it from an idea to life is a lot longer than, just unless you're sitting on a boatload of money and you're willing to lose money for the first.
Right. So buying into like a turnkey facility was a much faster path.
Yeah, it just helped us. There's a lot of learning. Like it's one thing to have the concept on paper, but the actual commissioning, installation, training, all of those processes take a lot of time to do. And obviously with an existing business, then you still have the cash flows of that business financially keeping you afloat for the time.
So all that being said, seeing that, all that hard work and that financial and time investment ahead of you, what was the driving factor behind getting this off the ground? Like, why did you want to launch a non-alcoholic brand so badly?
Yeah, so for myself, I would say 95% of my consumption is non-alc beer. And I just felt that there was a little lack, a hole in the market. Nobody, I wouldn't say nobody, Libra from PEI was kind of the first local ones to give it a shot. And yeah, I still found that the quality was not to the level that I wanted as a craft beer enthusiast. And to me, it speaks to me. The consumer of non-alc beer is me. And at the end of the day, I like, a lot of the big beer companies, the big objective is just to move more volume, right? It's more about the dollars and less about the impact of what does it mean to drive a whole lot of volume. The objective is never to have a community or a society that's a bunch of alcoholics. You want people to, yes, I'm a big fan of moderation, and I'm a big fan of, being conscious of, what you're doing with your body, with your life. And I think non-alc beer has its place. I don't think it's going anywhere. So I think it's actually just going to keep on growing. And we are seeing a shift in consumer habits where people are, drinking less, listening to their doctors. And now with technology, everybody's got, great podcasts like you and others, giving this information to people. The information is out there, and the people that are aware and want to learn and grow, well, all the information's there. Now you need to apply it. And we are seeing a big shift in consumers that are looking for it, and the demand is definitely there. So
I think there's always going to be that category of people that are self-educated and are seeking better options, better solutions for themselves, for their health. But what's kind of cool and what's in your favor definitely right now is non-alcoholic options are more socially acceptable than ever, right?
yeah, it's I also worked in the cannabis space prior to this, and that was one of the big topics. It's like when cannabis goes from illegal to legal, there's a huge stigma. There's a huge, perception still that people are like, oh, that's drugs. Like, don't do cannabis.
Right.
And that same kind of stigma was attached to non-alc consumption about 10 years ago, when the only few options was like Beck's and, and you were either recovering alcoholic or pregnant.
Exactly.
It was like there was no, it wasn't cool to drink non-alc beer. And now it's almost shifting to, it is cool to take care of your health and to wake up the next morning and be a good father, or, show up to work without a hangover. So, there is a big shift in consumer ideology around that. So, which is to our favor. But at the end of the day, it's not just a brand thing. Like, we're super proud of the actual liquid that we are offering to people. It's not just a basic, drink 20 of these. Like, craft beer is not designed around that, right? Craft beer is a very social, you're not there to get really drunk. Drunk is not the end goal. The goal is to socialize and be part of a community and drink some really good.
Enjoy what you're drinking.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's one of the parts for me. Like, I'm a beer enthusiast, although I drink probably like a dozen real beers per year now. The part that I miss the most is the taste. Like, I actually can tell you if a beer is good or which beer is better, right? So I really do miss tasting different beers, going at different breweries to, test a new beer or stuff like that. That I will admit, like, that's one of the parts that I have a bit of like FOMO around.
Yeah.
But when I tried your beer specifically, your non-alcoholic beer, I found that I got that same feeling of like, oh, well, I'll try all 3 or 4, whatever, how many you guys brew. I'll try all of them because they're all different tastes. I'm not drinking it just because it's the only option. I'm drinking it because it's actually a craft beer.
Exactly.
Just has no alcohol in it, right? So it kind of replaced that factor for me, which was really fun to get back.
Yeah. No, craft beer is, that's the kind of beauty of the craft industry is you have that artistic side where, I don't personally brew, but my employees, we have 3 guys that are, dedicated brewers, and, they bring stuff to the table, which is like, great idea. Let's do it. Right. So, and, some are really, really good. Some are a little less good. And then we kind of live and learn and adjust, which is, the big companies, they have a few SKUs that are huge, huge, huge volume, whereas ours is a lot smaller scale, and you get to try and create a bunch of different stuff.
What's your territory? Like, how far would you guys go from Moncton? How far does your beer get from Moncton?
Yeah, so in terms of distribution for our alcoholic beers at the moment, we're New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. We have a few accounts in PEI that buy the beer as well. We ship to Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. So
off of what platform?
So this is our alcoholic beer. So it's all either government kind of distributed through the liquor commissions, or in the Alberta market, it's a private retail channel. So
and for the non-alcoholic, can you purchase that just like another product on an e-commerce store type of thing?
Exactly. So we have our flycraftbeer.ca website. So e-commerce platform, you can buy it there. We're currently only shipping in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI. And then we're working on getting, hopefully, listings into Sobeys very soon. We just had a Costco roadshow, which was super fun and successful. And yeah, it's a work in progress. We also make the non-alc beer for Pump House. So the Crafty Radler Zero and the Blueberry Zero. So those ones are distributed in all of the New Brunswick liquor stores, Sobeys, Loblaws, in Atlantic Canada.
Wow, that's awesome. Can you explain to me the process that you guys use? You've explained this to me in the past, but I can't remember the details. But what actually happens when you brew a beer with alcohol? How does that extraction work?
Yeah, so in terms of like brewing a beer, right? You start with your grain, add your water, hops, and then your yeast. And then it goes into a fermenter and you let it, do its thing. So alcohol is created. That's how you get your full body, mouthfeel, flavors extracted. It takes time, right? So to create non-alc beer, there's kind of two methods. So either you halt fermentation, you stop the fermentation. So a lot of people that are not looking to invest in additional technology, well, they'll do the exact same process, but usually fermentation takes 2 to some beers take up to 8 weeks, right? So then you have your fermentation. A lot of them will stop it like at 24 hours. So right away, they pitch the yeast in the fermentation tank and stop it right away. So that way you're not getting that alcohol, but the kind of con side of that, you're not getting your full body. The whole fermentation process gives it what we know as beer, right? So a lot of them lack a little bit of body and flavor. And what's happening too on the risky side of things is this is a food product. When there's no alcohol, it is considered a food product. All of that grain. So when you mash in your grains, you heat that up, and that extracts fermentable sugars. Well, those fermentable sugars are still there. So if ever there is a can that is not pasteurized, that has some residual yeast and some fermentable sugars, and it's in a warm area, what happens is it re-ferments. So your non-alc beer might actually have alcohol.
Right.
Where that's kind of where my research was like, okay, no, there's a better way to do this. It is harder. It costs more. So, but you have to make the beer. So you fully ferment it. So your yeast does its job. It chews through or converts all the sugars to ethanol. Then you're left with a beer that is no longer going to re-ferment. And then you filter out the yeast. And then we have a piece of equipment that's a dealkalization system. And it literally extracts the alcohol and gives you your 0.0. So to my knowledge, I think we're the only craft brewery in North America doing true 0.0. So we've invested in, high quality lab gear to actually have our certificates, our own analysis confirming that there is 0.0 in there.
Oh, wow.
We have third party lab COAs for every batch as well. So it's, we've thought of it for a long time and decided, hey, instead of trying something, let's do it right from the start. Obviously it's new recipes. Everything is, it takes time, but
right.
we're very happy with the way that things are coming out right now and the feedback that we're getting. So
That's amazing. Is it simple to explain how the alcohol actually gets extracted? Like what actually happens? I'm curious.
It's not very simple to explain, but
yeah. I don't think I ever passed a chemistry test or a chemistry course. So.
Yeah. So, in theory, there's a few kind of piece of equipment that are out there that do this. There's kind of reverse osmosis. There's a one that we have is it's under vacuum. So the way separation happens in liquids, you have a boiling point. Well, if a product is under vacuum, then your boiling point is actually closer to room temperature. So we have, it starts out by the whole system is under vacuum pressure, so you're slightly heating the product, but not at full boiling temperature. It's actually only hitting about 35 to 40 degrees, and then the molecules of alcohol start separating, and
Magic happens.
yeah, pretty much magic.
So it's a magic machine. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a
Cool.
super expensive, fancy machine that does it all, and it's pretty much a plug and play. You have an HMI screen, and you select the recipe and press play, and off it goes.
Awesome. That's cool. I was wondering how that process worked. I tried to explain to some people, like Alex from Fly Brewing, like they do things differently, but I can't tell you how.
Yeah, no, it's it's the same technology as a lot of the bigger companies. So
Gotcha.
when I launched Heineken Zero, I did visit their facility in the Netherlands, and same manufacturer, same machine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying that to your knowledge, you guys are the only one in North America with that machine or with that process?
I don't see any other craft breweries launching any 0.0s.
Gotcha.
A lot of them are 0.5s.
That's
so,
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
And what would you say is your long-term vision, like for the non-alcoholic side specifically? Do you guys have this big shiny star that you're aiming for, 5-10 years down the road?
at the end of the day, we're still a small business, and we're on we have a vision for the company to grow and bring these products to more people. The main, it's not distribution at all costs, getting into grocery chains and stuff like that. Like, just to give you an idea, like e-commerce wise, somebody buys a 2-4. I think we're charging a $10 flat shipping fee, but what I pay to ship a 2-4 is $34 per 2-4. So
Okay, wow.
shipping cost to get liquid,
It's a heavy product.
It's a heavy product,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
Getting liquid across the world is a very expensive process. So
the local market is very important, essentially.
absolutely,
For you
like
guys.
for the time being, like before we really put big targets to go national or North American or whatever, it's really to win. When I say win, like be well recognized locally, people support us and appreciate our products, and then grow organically, right? So
Right. Do you guys invest in the community as far as like integrating yourselves and your brand in the greater Moncton community, like any events or stuff like that you guys specifically participate in?
there's no specific ones. Like I get emails on a daily basis on event participation, and anytime that there's sampling opportunities, we are there.
Right.
This summer we did a partnership with a local radio company, and they were giving away product all summer, gift cards to our location. We do support a lot of local sports teams. We've partnered with the CIFA, female Fury organization. This year we sponsored another local minor hockey team. So the Petticodiac Salisbury Flyers. Like we've done partnerships with a lot of kind of local teams.
Right.
In any events that we can participate in, or in the community, we definitely try to be there. So it is like I said, we are a small team, so it's managing where
your time is best spent, or your energy is best spent.
Exactly.
Right.
And at the end of the day, like I could be working every single weekend, doing events every single weekend. I'm also coaching my kids' hockey team. My wife is a full-time coach, so she's traveling every weekend. So there is that balance of, okay, where are we? Where can we commit to for work and personal lives? So.
Right. Kind of using that as a segue to change the subject a little bit, but if you go back to like the time that you were planning to launch this and essentially buying that brewery that you bought, what was your thought process, or like even like if you would talk to someone considering doing a big move like this, specifically in the dad shoes, or as a person with a family, with someone depending on them financially, and also to be present at home, evenings and weekends. What was your thought process? Was there any like fear behind jumping into this, or was it like you had no doubt, you knew you were going to make this work? How do you dissect this? Like when you're taking on a risk, when you're jumping into a new venture, how do you balance the thought between, doing this right business wise, but also not making your family sacrifice too much?
Yeah, it's a lot of people kind of dream of entrepreneurship, and we see these courses where, just set up an e-commerce store and you'll make, millions every year. To me, entrepreneurship is not about, like, money is kind of a compensation for doing good business, but it's not the end goal. Like, the end goal is to enjoy what you're doing and to create something new every day. Do I think entrepreneurship is for everybody? No, absolutely not. It's, there is a ton of risk. Yes, was I scared? Absolutely. Stable income from working for somebody else, knowing that you're committed to your Monday to Friday, have your weekends off and your vacation. Yes, that is very comfortable. I'm also a very, how can I say that? I need to do a lot to be fulfilled. Oftentimes it's not just, doing my assigned task. I was always the person like, hey, can I do more? Like, give me more. And very ambitious. I'm super curious, always willing to learn. So I'm not the person that knows it all. I think it works really well in our company because, I'm able to trust and delegate a lot of I don't do any of the brewing. I am very aware of the process, but I don't do it, right? I trust my employees that they know how to make this, and, I'm kind of the vision person, and I help out any time they need me to. But it's definitely like the thought process was, this is something I really wanted to do, brings me joy. And at the end of the day, I do enjoy the flexibility of, hey, if I need to coach my kid at 4:30 on a Wednesday or a Thursday, I'm there. I pick them up from daycare. I go. I'm also not, very aware that if I need to work on a Saturday or a Sunday or after the kids are in sleep, do some work, whatever that is, I do it. So it's definitely not, you have to find the fine line between when to disconnect, but you can't just completely disconnect, right? When you own the business, you're
always on.
You're always on. If you're traveling to, on a personal trip to Mexico, well, if you didn't figure out who was doing payroll, you still have to do payroll regardless of where you're at in the world, right? So there are still some things that you need to be very much aware of. And the business is always rolling when you're not there. So is it scary at the start? Yes, absolutely. But anybody that's, willing to commit, learn, and grow, there's, and following, like, not just the money, like, yes, what's the percentage in Canada that fail in business? I think
it's high.
Yeah.
I want to say like 70%, something like that. Yeah, it's pretty high.
There's a pretty high percentage of businesses that fail. So it's like, that's a clear indication that, entrepreneurship is not for everyone. There is especially in the bev, alcohol, food, or I guess CPG space, it's not just do it, and you're not selling a service, you're selling a product. And there are laws and regulations and permits and licenses.
Right.
So you have to kind of fit all of that in. So it is, there are challenges, but it is I enjoy it. I partnered with some really intelligent, smart people, Brad DeVarens, Colin Barley, and Brian Harriman. They're the three owners at Pump House as well, so they are shareholders in Flying Boats. And, they did the acquisition of Pump House about 5-6 years ago. So when we bought flying boats. You know, it was
More of a seamless process with them there.
there was a lot of the learning curve, I guess, was a lot smaller because they had already gone through that. So, you know, I didn't have to worry, who am I going to call to answer this question?
Right.
It was super easy on that side. So,
Yeah. Two things kind of stick out for me from what you just said. One is learn from people that have already done the thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
And you've partnered with them, which is super wise in my opinion. A smaller piece of a pie that goes, you know, further is better than the whole pie without you knowing where you're going and, you know, maybe failing because of that, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is I feel like you're really you know, your driving factor is your passion for what you're doing, which I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
Everything that I've ever done, there has to be a passion behind it. Money was never a motivation for me. It's kind of exactly how you described it earlier. Money is just a tool, you know, to do the fun things, and we all need money to make things roll in life. But being passionate about something that you're doing is going to be fun most days, and you're going to feel like you're making an actual difference, right? Like you're creating something you're proud of. You're integrating yourself and your branding in your own community. You're not just, you know, selling a product that no one sees and then reaping the benefits of money that comes from that. You're actually helping people enjoy themselves socially and create good times with friends and family, which is super cool in my opinion.
No, that's you're spot on and exactly kind of how I feel about business. And like you said, like partnering with the right people in business is, you know, huge, like massive, because like you said, if you can own 100% of something, but if you're hitting roadblocks every single, like you will hit roadblocks all the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's how to overcome those and how to keep going in the right direction, and having people that can be a mentor and a partner at the same time is super, you know, gratifying to me. Like you know, every time we have our partners meetings, like, you know, it's a minimum once a week, and we sit down and we're partners, but everybody's bringing something to the table, and it's we can typically find the answers of every, you know, little problem that we have relatively quickly, which allows us to kind of grow at a much or spend less time trying to fix problems.
Yeah. And it keeps the momentum going, right? Because, you know, everyone has good and bad days and weeks, but if you're a good team of good people, there's always, you know, one or two of them every time you meet up that are going to, you know, help you get back onto that momentum if you're, you know, off of that week, right? So when you have a good team of people like that, it's just, you know, you feel like I said, you just stay on that momentum train all the time. And yeah, being humble enough to you know that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time, and you can take some knowledge from the people that have done it already. I think that's like a cheat code to getting to where you want to go so much faster.
Yeah, like I don't think like there's a place for inventors, creators that are doing something that has never been done before. 99% of businesses, you're creating something, but it's already been done to a certain degree.
Everything's been done at this point.
Pretty much. Yeah. So, you know, it's learning from who's done it really well and trying to create your own kind of version of that is often the easiest solution to a lot of problems. It's
right.
Like if somebody's already done it, they've probably gone through that problem. And that's one of the things, like before founding my company and partnering with my partners, I spent 2 years just, you know, I was doing my master's and PhD, and, you know, whenever I was tired of reading scientific literature, I was working on my business. And to me, like, I just reached out to pretty much every NA beer company that was willing to speak to me and sit down with them on a, you know, video call or a phone call and just ask questions. And that's kind of how I came up with a lot of my ideas, was to, all right,
Right.
just ask people. It was as simple as going on LinkedIn and sending a message. Hey, I'm working on a startup. Do you mind giving me a phone call?
And more times than not, people are super happy and willing to help you and basically give you all their secrets, essentially. Like people appreciate that you go to them and you see them as an expert.
Yeah.
And people want to be useful, and like I said, most times they want to help you out. So it's a simple thing, but just asking people, you'll likely get what you're looking for.
And even in the industry, like, a lot of people think that everybody's competition, and it's like, all the local craft breweries, we chat to each other. We,
Right.
Certain days that, oh shit, we're running out of, Cascade or Citra hops, and we have a brew like now that we need
Right.
it. Oh, let's call the guy next door, see
Yeah.
if he can help me. And we do each other favors. When we have problems, we call them. We kind of work together. There's a lot of great local companies, and I think, like, it's great to have as many of them kind of working collaboratively, because that's how we support local economy. That's how we make sure that, locally we're all, in a good position.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no reason not to be that way. That's awesome.
Yeah. I think in the craft beer world, that's the one thing. Like, the big companies, they are direct competition.
Right.
They're not sharing any secrets.
Yeah,
They're keeping everything really close to their chest. In the craft beer world, I think, like, just sharing best practices has helped the industry tremendously, because now everybody, if you you go back 15 years, craft beer was average. And a lot of people were, doubtful, like, oh, it's not good beer.
Right.
And a lot of it was pretty bad.
Right.
Some were really good, but I think now all of those best practice shares in the industry has allowed everybody to step up their game. And now craft beer is, like, a lot of it is really, really good.
Right.
So,
And every brand helps every other brand in creating awareness of, like, what craft beer is, right? Which now at this point is pretty mainstream, but like you said, it hasn't been a long time. Because I remember Pump House was the first craft beer brewer around here. And for like 10, 15 years, no one really realized that what craft beer was, essentially. Like, around here, people would choose a domestic beer over a craft beer. And I would blame that on, like, just the awareness wasn't there, right? People weren't educated on what a good beer was, essentially.
no, it's like, domestic beer market share has, gone down throughout the years, but craft beer is still, like, it's only 11% of New Brunswick's beer sales.
Right.
So we still have, 89% of people that are not spending their dollars into the craft beer sector. So to me, there is still a lot of room to grow, and a lot of people, let's say that 90% of people that are buying domestic, yes, like, craft beer sometimes is more expensive, but at the same time, a lot of them had a bad experience with craft beer. They spent that premium dollar and had something that was subpar.
Right.
And they're like, okay, I don't trust craft beer. That tag of craft.
Right. What's the market percentage of non-alcoholic versus regular craft beer?
Non-alcoholic beer is about 1 to 2% of total beverage alcohol sales. So,
and is there, like, an official prediction out there of, like, what's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years? Do you think that that's going to go significantly up?
I don't think it's ever going to be, like, a big portion of the market share, but I think, like, you can look, there's a few countries in Europe that are, and Asia as well, like 10 to 15% of the total market
Is non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's one country that's like 20% of the market, which is
I'm
pretty
intrigued.
high, but
I'm intrigued because I keep hearing the stats of, like, how the upcoming generation, basically, they don't drink anymore, and that's a blanket statement. Like, I'm sure there's some people that drink alcohol, However, there's a lot of them that it's just not part of their culture, I guess, or the time that they're being raised in. And I think part of it is because people are more aware of their health. But one very intriguing part of it is because people are less physically social than, let's say, when we were 19, 20, 21. If you wanted to see people, you went out and you drank, essentially, right? And now I'm hearing how basically people don't go out. Like the only way they interact, and not everyone, but a lot of them, they solely interact on their devices, which means that there's a lot less consumption of alcohol.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember your first beer, but as a current beer drinker, my first beer, I did not enjoy it. So at the end of the day, like the young 19, 20-year-olds that have never drank beer, they're not going to drink non-alc beer. Like that's the consumer is definitely the us, middle-aged person that has drank
True.
beer,
That's a good
enjoys
point.
beer,
Yeah.
and are looking to reduce their consumption
Right.
for either fitness goals, for medical reasons, for just personal choices, right? So that is definitely the target consumer of non-alc craft beer.
Right.
It's a lot of people are like, oh, it's the next generation. I'm like, I'm not sure if their palate's going to be ready for.
True. That's a good point. I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Turning the page a little bit, you as an entrepreneur at home and your wife, I'm assuming as a volleyball coach, has a variable schedule, weekends, nights, maybe, or evenings.
Yeah.
How do you guys manage like a busy schedule like that? Tell me like if you have some tricks on like making sure that, you get what you need and she gets what she needs, both professionally and personally, like your me time, like your time to take care of yourself at the gym, to do your sports and stuff. How do you guys kind of organize your lives to make sure that everyone's happy in the household?
Yeah, it's we kind of try to work as a team. That's the big thing. We're both in the same mindset of trying to do good for us. Lately it's been, wake up at 5:45, 6, go to the gym. So we have a home gym in the basement. Typically the kids are up at the same time as us, so they come and, we try to give from 6 to 7 as us time. It doesn't need to be like, personally, I'd rather train daytime than mornings. I find in the mornings I'm not as motivated. So if it's running, I can definitely, I used to go out every morning and run, 5 to 10K. But I found like the first 20 minutes was kind of like waking up.
Right.
And then you're in the flow state and you're just kind of, you keep on going. But in the gym, I find it's a little harder to personally, but we just give ourselves an hour. And it's never a hard, like, oh, you need to do this, need to finish. We have an hour. If the kids are, playing around and interfering with us, we allow it. We just try to commit to doing something every morning. And if it's not every morning, if we had a hard night with, a kid is sick or we're not feeling overly good or we had a long night the day before, we just listen to ourselves and try our best. So we usually try to commit in the morning. If we're, up and well, 6 to 7, at 7 o'clock, doesn't matter where you're at in the workout,
We're done.
Done, jump in the shower, get the kids ready. They're at school for 8, and the weekends are, I wouldn't say impossible, but she's coaching. So let's say this weekend she's playing Friday against Acadia, Saturday against St. Mary's, both in Nova Scotia. So she's away for the weekend. I'm coaching the kids Saturday and Sunday morning. So
busy stuff on the weekends.
it's when you're alone with 2 kids, it's a little harder to it takes a bit more time to get everything ready and all
Right.
that. So I try to give the weekends as rest days. And
Right.
yeah. And for us, like, in terms of parenting, we try to, be there for our kids as much as possible, allow them to speak up and open up about their emotions, feelings. In our kind of nighttime routine, like we go to the bath or shower, get them ready. All four of us, if we're all there, all four of us are in one bed, one of the kids' bedrooms. We read a couple books. Now they're starting to read, so they have their little, they're taking their turn on reading, and we pass out with them. Literally, wait till we wait till they fall asleep. Obviously, if we're really tired, we pass out with them, but usually they pass out. We then bring them to if we're in, let's say, Louis' room, we bring Teo to his room after he's passed out. And, it's our little family ritual. We're all together. We're all spending that time. We try to, open up on, what did you like today? And what was the thing you disliked today? And, what was your favorite thing about school today, or whatever? We try to bring up these questions to have them, speak out on what they're living. Oftentimes those emotions are kind of put aside, but we try to use that as our little us time, which is super fun.
I love that habit too of like, I find in my mind when I ask them a question like, what was your favorite part of today? Or what was one thing you really loved today? I find like it ingrains this habit in their mind of thinking back and being grateful about, one thing, even if it's just a small thing, doesn't really matter. It's just like thinking back, like, oh yeah, my day was like pretty awesome today. I went snowboarding. I went, gym class was really fun, whatever it was. Right.
Yeah, so we typically do we'll start with the kids and then they'll ask us, what was your favorite? And, in the past, this is almost kind of replacing religion when your prayer every night. For us, it's kind of a little moment to be grateful and kind of recognize
that's your type of prayer.
We typically do our little, so my business that I founded was originally called JALT, JALT. So the acronym of all of our, so Julien, Alex, Louis, Teo, and we'd usually end up with a little cheer. So JALT on 3, JALT. And
nice.
Then we kind of start our reading and routine. So
nice.
That's probably some of the fondest memories with my kids is literally nighttime. And a lot of people I know, it's nighttime routine is hard. And sometimes it is hard, right? Let's say last weekend we went to the Timbits Wildcats, hockey day in Canada. Right. All the kids were walking on the ice. There was, sold out crowd. It's the 7 p.m. game. We walked on the ice between the second and third intermission. The whole hockey team was there. We ended up finishing the game, putting them to bed. It was 10:30, I think. Like, it's pretty late for 5 and 6 year olds.
Right.
But,
less of an enjoyable bedtime routine on those nights.
Yeah, like they were wired, which is like probably the latest they've ever gone to bed.
Right.
So, certain days, and again, we try not to make anybody feel bad or.
Yeah, whatever works for you works for you. Yeah, exactly. I always tell like parents or parents to be, stop reading the freaking books. Mm-hmm. Just have the baby and figure shit out. You'll figure it out as you go, right? Whatever works for you. It's not a one track thing or like a one strategy thing. It's like, this works for us, that works for you. As long as everyone's happy in the end, you don't need to compare yourself to how everyone's doing things.
No, everybody, like, whatever works the best for you is the good way to do it, to me. Every kid is different too. So that's
100% agree.
You have twins and they're not the same.
Man, like that may be one of the biggest surprises for me is like, you assume they're raised by the same parents in the same household, they're the same age, they go to the same schools, they have, the same circle of friends. Two different people, like not even close to being the same, right?
Yeah. No, mine are 14 months apart. So almost basically Irish twins.
Yeah.
Both boys. Teo is actually, so Louis is maybe an inch and a half taller. Teo is heavier than his older brother. They wear the same clothes. They
Right.
wear like they don't. The top of our garage is kind of our laundry room, and it's attached to our master. We have a dresser there, and we have one dresser for them. It's not like they share everything, but
Yeah.
as in terms of personalities, in terms of who they are
Very different.
very, very different.
Super intriguing.
Yeah.
Super intriguing.
So what works for one doesn't mean it's going to work for the other, right?
Yeah, 100%, man. That's a huge takeaway for you to like expect and understand as a parent is you have to have like different strategies, I guess, or like different ways. You have to realize what type of communication works with those types of personalities.
Yeah.
My son is very A-type personality. Like he likes to listen to us. He likes to follow the rules for the most part. He enjoys helping and doing good. And don't get me wrong, my daughter's a good person, but like she's very in her zone. Like she has her own like little sneaky personality. She does her own thing. She doesn't necessarily listen to what you're saying. she's very different.
Yeah.
Same good heart and good person, but you have to communicate with her in a different way than my son. My son is like more, he listens to a task and he loves to do that task. And
A little OCD. That's
Yeah,
the
a
same
little-
with my oldest, Louis, is the
Okay.
exact same way. Teo, on the other hand, is, a lot more personality.
right. Creative person.
Yeah,
is
he just likes to be the joker, likes to
Right.
be very physical.
Right.
His favorite thing lately has been wrestling with me. Literally, like, okay, I think we watched a movie and there was wrestling, and he's like, 1, 2, 3, ding, ding, ding. Like he wants, and he's like, no, Dad, don't go hard on me. Just like, and then I'll let him win. And then he'll be like, okay, go like medium. And then I'll let him win again. And then he's like, no, go hard now. And then I'll win. He's like, no, not that hard. But he just wants to wrestle now.
Right.
It's just like super physical in terms of like the way he plays.
Right.
Louis, they're both very athletic and like to do, like, they'll never say no to anything. They want to be outside as much as possible. But still, like, Teo is just a little joker and always wants to play.
Right.
And when you're giving him rules, well, he'll bend them a little.
Yeah.
Where Louis is a little more on the OCD, like listens to it very carefully, does it.
Right.
It's funny, like at the start when, I had a hockey net at home, I played hockey and no interest in hockey. Like for him, like shooting a puck into a big net wasn't, I was like, okay, that's cool. He'll probably won't be a hockey player, And then our neighbors were like, hey, do you guys, we're not using our basketball net anymore. You want the basketball net? I was like, oh, I'll bring it home. So this is a full height basketball net. And Louis all of a sudden just loves basketball. Like his objective is he's failing more than he's winning, right? You're shooting and you're missing and you're missing. So he's just, his personality is like, no, I'm going to keep on doing it. For the first week that we had it, he would spend 3 hours a day shooting basketball. Like he shoots better than I do.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of understanding his personality a little better. So I, for one of the birthdays, I got a shooter tutor. So it's kind of like a fake goalie for the hockey net.
Right.
Now you can't just shoot in the net. You have to, all of a sudden, he loves hockey now. And it's just like, that's his personality. He likes to have.
Very goal oriented.
Yeah, very goal oriented. Just, that was kind of a weird, like, I thought, okay, you have the big net, you're going to score every time. Like he can't lift the puck yet or whatever, but
It needs to be a mission attached
it needs
to that
to be
task.
a full-blown mission.
Yeah.
But Teo, on the other hand,
Easy
doesn't
going.
likes to do anything, doesn't really care. He just wants to play,
Right.
do stuff. And it's two different
Yeah.
personalities.
It's not a right and a wrong. It's just
No.
different. It's so much fun to watch them grow up and understand more and more who they are and who they're becoming.
Yeah.
At the start, it's a little, you just think they're torching you with their personalities, but then you start to understand a little bit more and more as they grow up, and you understand like why they're this way and why they're emotional or why they're dramatic about certain things, and you start to understand the things they like and how they function, what drives them.
Absolutely.
One thing that you said that I really, really liked about your daily routine is in the morning from 6 to 7, when you guys go in your gym and do your workouts, you kind of let your kids, see you essentially and hang around, hang around you guys while you're doing your workouts. And I'm a big fan of that personally. My wife and I have a garage gym. We also do go to an actual gym too, which we bring them to that gym. But when we're at home, we allow them to hang out with us. Sometimes they'll, do their own little workouts, burpees and squats and whatnot. And I'm a massive, massive fan. If like there's one thing that I would give as parenting advice is just lead by example, right? And that applies to many, many things. But if you can show them how to lead a healthy life with the right priorities, which is, to me, number one is take care of yourself first, then you can take care of your family afterwards. So to me, for you guys to show, the importance of that as a priority is super, super cool to see.
Yeah. I think like since we bought the business now, it's going on 2 years. I would say my personal training, that prior to that, I was training very intensely. I would say in the last 2 years, it's taken a lot of time, late nights. So like the routine with kids changing ages as well was, a lot of adaptation. Sounds like excuses, not really excuses. I think I'm just, I haven't never cut training. I just had to reduce a bit of the volume that I was doing. And I think I'm slowly starting to, gain a bit more feet on the ground around our day to day and scheduling, the workouts in, because if it's not scheduled, it's not going to happen. And to me anyways, that's
No, I totally agree. That's the biggest cheat code in life as far as like getting your workouts in and prioritizing your health. If you don't put that first and schedule the rest of your life around that, it's just not happening, right? When you're younger, sure, you can kind of wing it and just say like, I'll go in the morning or maybe at noon or maybe at night, whatever. You have all those options. But at the time in our lives where we're at, where it's like you're hustling in your business, your kids are young and super busy, you have a wife that has her own schedule and her own work stuff, you have to look at your schedule a week before and be like, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm working out at 7 a.m. or noon or whatever, scheduling that in. Then the meetings go around it. Then the rest of the stuff goes around it. But if you don't do that, I mean, you're setting yourself up for failure.
It's like eating too, right? Like it's when you're working till 5, 6 o'clock. Well, the kids are done daycare at, let's say, 4:35. Well, let's say my wife picks them up at 4:30. Well, supper's not ready. She worked. I'm still at work. Unless you prepared something the night before or have help, and the kids are hungry, right? You know how it is. They show up at home and they're like, I'm hungry. Snack drawer, they start, eating stuff, and then by the time supper's ready, it's 6:30, and by the time you're done eating and putting them to bed, it's 9:30, and you haven't cleaned the kitchen yet. You haven't, So there's the time that needs to go around preparation is super important.
Yeah, I love the phrase "fail to plan, plan to fail." That's a good way to look at meal prep or training or business or whatever, right? So Alex, before I let you go, I have one last question for you. It's a deep one. So when your kids are adults down the road, how would you wish them to describe you as? What would make you proud to hear them say?
That's a tough question. I think at the end of the day, like when you are a parent, a lot of people want to be friends with their kids. I wish to be a friend to my kid when he's an adult. As a father now, I think, that one of the weird things, me and Janin had this discussion a few times, like, the objective into raising children is to raise people that are self-sufficient, educated, smart, that are good human beings. You want them to be able to let them go, right? You're raising somebody to let them go. It doesn't need to be let go, hey, detach completely. No, you want to have a close relationship with them down the road. But I think, to me, if I want to define success as a parent is to achieve that. You don't want a child that becomes dependent of you for your whole life. We often see it with people our age that are still need mom and dad for everything. And I think giving them the tools required to become, self-sufficient and be able to go out in life and do whatever they please successfully is kind of how I would define me being a good parent. And I think if they can say that I gave them all the opportunities and the tools to do that, I would be super grateful for that. A lot of times when you're disciplining or, teaching them how to do things a specific way, it's not the easy solution. The easy solution is often the one that leads to problems, but and it's not what they want to hear half of the times, but you have to stand your ground and you have to know why you're doing that. And yeah, I really hope that whenever they are old and mature enough to understand, oh, dad did that because he loved me. I think them describing dad as a loving father, I love my kids to death and would do anything for them. Just having love is the big thing. I'll always love them regardless of who they are or what they do. So.
Man, I love that answer so much, Alex. The whole thing, awesome. The start and the finish.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, Alex. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being the father that you are, showing up for your kids like you do, and inspiring everyone around you to be a good dad.
Beautiful. I appreciate it. Thank you, Matt.
All right. Thanks, Alex.